Welcome to Soul Sisteries. All right, sis, that was one of my favorite conversations because we both really adore this man, right?
Mhm.
He is such a gentle, loving, wonderful spirit. Miguel Gonzalez. Oh my gosh, everybody. I can't wait for you to listen in.
Yeah, so filled with hope that from the day I met him, filled with hope and just such a light and like you said, just so gentle and so loving. And that feeling of hope, of calm and peace, that's what you feel when you're with Miguel. So I encourage everybody to listen in and just kind of relax and enjoy the conversation.
He is the real deal. Check it out. Hey, everybody, we are so excited to be here with Miguel Gonzalez, who is somebody that we've come to know and love, but first met him through the wonderful work that he does. And we've both been clients of his as well, and are so grateful for his wonderful insights, his extraordinary perceptions, and his very gentle, loving spirit. Miguel is a medium, and that manifests in a variety of ways. And we're going to talk to him about that work and his journey and what brings him here. You're going to want to know all about Miguel as well. So, Miguel, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you
Yay.
for inviting me. Thank you. I'm excited to share what Spirit has brought upon my life, and so thank you for this opportunity.
Yes.
Well, you're so welcome, and thank you. And so, and exactly that, what Spirit has brought upon, has brought this about because, like, nobody is a little kid going, "Hey, I want to grow up and be a medium." Like, that's not really what happens. But here you are, and like I can attest, you are so good at what you do. For a variety of reasons, you are super insightful, very clear, very on target and incredibly loving and kind. So all of that's wonderful. But can you tell us a little bit about really what did bring you to to this journey and where you are today? Big
Yeah, I'd love.
question.
It is a big question. I think that many of us can see different parts of our life that brought us a little bit closer to this understanding of spirit and spirit connection.
Yeah.
And I feel like for myself, it was a gradual buildup. And throughout most of my life, I always wondered what happens when we die. I only
Mhm.
had the answer from religion. You either go to
Right.
heaven or you go to hell. And that is
Right. Yeah.
terrifying.
Yep.
Right?
And
Yep.
so I was like, okay, that's a little frightening. And so I had that question within myself for many, many, many years. And when I was 26, about to turn 27, I had this dream visitation of the Lady of Guadalupe.
Mm,
And in my dream, I saw her and I saw Juan Dieguito um, at her feet. And
Mm.
I couldn't believe that I was seeing her because it felt more than just a dream. It felt very real.
yeah.
Yeah.
The colors around her were incredible. And
Mhm.
so I woke myself up from that space because I just couldn't believe it.
Wow.
But when I woke up from that space, the room felt different. It didn't
Mm.
feel like the same room I had first gone off to sleep. There was a different energy and a
Mhm.
love that was very present.
Wow.
And the following 2 days after that night, she would come back into the room, and I would see like this constellation of stars that would form her shape. And from that, there wasn't necessarily like communication word to word.
Hmm.
In my soul, I knew I need to make changes in my life because there's something that's to come. Like
Mm.
Wow.
that's all that I knew within me, that I needed
Right.
to make changes to embrace what was coming. And that really was the beginning of my journey with
Mm.
spirit, consciously fully aware, and also the visitations from my grandma. After
Mm.
after that visitation from the Lady of Guadalupe, or my grandma would come in and she would tell me things. I was like, I don't know if this is really you, Grandma. So I had to go and call my mom and confirm, like, Mom, is this real? And some
Wow.
of the things she didn't know about but came to be. So that's how I learned to really trust that, okay, this is my grandmother. This is her
Hmm.
spirit because I could feel it. And
Hmm.
it's been a wonderful journey since then.
Yeah. Wow. So I'm curious because 26, 27, that's still fairly young, like
Yeah.
trying to figure out what your role is in life, what you're supposed to do, maybe for school or for career wise. Was there a different path you were on that then took you this way?
Yes, I
Okay.
had recently, a couple years, just graduated from college.
Okay.
Received my bachelor's in fine arts. So
Okay.
drawing and painting, gone to art school. My idea
Hmm.
of life was I'm going to be a gallery artist, a painter.
Mm.
That's my dream.
Yeah.
And then Spirit came along and things have changed for the better, I
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I ask? So here's the thing, because I come up against this with a number of people just in the world and doing the work that I do as well, that there are those who, are raised in a lot of fear regarding the afterlife. You talked about, heaven, hell, that seemed very scary, that these are the,
Hmm.
what else can we know? And so somehow, some way, when you had the dream visions that you did, and then the knowingness that you did, you were able, through the validations, and that's important, but you were able to go to trust rather than the fear, which many people, that is the wall. They cannot go past that. They're afraid of their own knowing. Because as you said, all of us have experiences of what we see, we know, but many people shut that down.
Hmm.
How is it that you were able to walk through that into trust?
Well, that's a really good question. The way it felt for me, the way that it felt, it did not feel scary or
Mm,
Hmm.
frightening. There was, of course, that bit of hesitation within my mind and reality.
yeah,
Because previous to this, I wasn't truly aware of communicating with spirit,
yeah,
like having communication with them.
Right.
And so for me, it was really about the feeling, the love that they brought forward that helped me not to be afraid of it. And I feel that, our journeys and our the direction of life that we head into all have a beautiful purpose. Of course, some can be very painful, some can be very beautiful and happy, but there's always a reason. And prior to arriving at this, visitation with the lady and my own spiritual awakening, I had already been away from home for a good, like maybe 5 or 6 years. And this
Hmm.
was my first time being fully away from my family. And I feel that that was important because I needed to find and discover who I
Yeah.
was as a person, as a soul,
yeah.
and not have the influence of my family that I've had for my entire life. And so I
Mhm.
feel that part of that had something to play in it as
Hmm.
well, that I was at a point where I was very open to new possibilities and new ideas as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love hearing that your background was in fine arts because I think when I first met you several years ago now, it seems, you were kind of practicing your spirit art,
Yes.
tying that into your mediumship. And I remember just being in awe, whether it was spirit or not, how quickly you could draw a face that looked like a person, where, that would take me probably months or years to do. But then how accurate your sketches were to all of our loved ones in spirit. And so I love to see that this spirit connection merged with your, really, your education, right? To allow you to do this phenomenal service for people of sketching their loved ones today in the afterlife, but as if they're right here with us. So just, I'll say, like, for me, the hope that I received from that was the knowledge that they still exist and they still look like a person, There's not, it's not that they're just dust like we learn that they are, right? There's so much more than that.
Yeah.
And also, while I had this thought of, my gosh, I'm never going to have a new picture with my loved one, all of a sudden here was a brand new picture of my loved one, which was just so hopeful, so absolutely beautiful. So I love that you're able to merge kind of this, what you thought was going to be your career, with this whole other path.
Well, how did you come by that, Miguel? So that's a very particular place to take your knowing. How did you come to do that?
Yeah, so early on in my development, as I was sitting in for circles and workshops, my mentors began speaking of other mediums. And so some of those mediums began to include spirit artists. And I was curious, like, oh, what does that mean? And for the first few years, I was very curious about it. And I discovered some spirit artists from the past and that they were able to draw the portrait of loved ones. And so that was like, huh, well, I can already draw people that are in front of me. I wonder if I can blend this
Mm-hmm.
with the mediumship. And so then that was its own journey of its own path of trying to understand how to bridge this together. And it's really fascinating for me because although I had this understanding of the how to draw and perceive information and place it on paper, it's like I had to let go of all of that and just surrender to trust
Mm,
from spirit and myself. And that was quite a challenge for some time.
yeah. Oh.
But it's part of the process of spirit
Mm,
also helping us to find that space within ourselves to own and trust and rely on, which
yeah.
Yeah.
is beautiful.
Mm, yeah. And and so I say that you're somebody who has given people a lot of hope, myself included, but I know people that have were in circles with you, and I know people who have been your clients who have talked about how amazing it is and how hopeful it is. And I wonder then, what gives you hope? Where do you find hope?
Ooh, those are all such great questions. You know, I feel that my hope comes from connecting to God and the love that I have around me, both living and in spirit.
Mm, yeah.
And when I truly believed in myself, also from spirit sharing with me and the experience that life was eternal,
Hmm.
that changed something within me. That there's this, there's something really beautiful to look forward to uh,
Hmm.
once we transition from this space. And that is that space what many can call heaven. I'll call it heaven too, of where we are going to be in the purest vibration of love.
Yeah.
And that
Mm,
brings to me great hope in my life, but what I'm doing also, that there are always souls around helping and guiding
yeah.
during this time. And so, yeah, thank you for that question.
Yeah.
Never thought
Thank
about
you.
it, but yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have you yourself worked with mediums along the way who have read for you and from whom, I mean, I'm assuming so, but from whom you've learned and taken, a little bit of training from what they do?
Yes, absolutely. My first mentor was Michael Mayo.
Mm,
So he was a really great foundation
hmm.
in being able to just be in a space of allowing and
Yeah.
allowing spirit to come in and just embrace that space. So he was really wonderful.
Mm.
I've also, and I'm taking currently classes with Eileen Davies as
Oh,
a
Mm,
yeah. Hmm.
wonderful, wonderful soul and medium. I've also taken courses with Joe Bradley for trance
Mm.
mediumship as well. So I feel like I've had a really wonderful array of different souls that have really,
Mm.
honored their skills and their connection to spirit. And so that's been a blessing. And I must also mention Julie Keatle as well, who was very
Mm.
supportive of my journey with trance as well.
yeah.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's an interesting thing, even you just talking about this, because I think a lot of people don't know that there is actual training involved and that you right now are still continuing your education,
Mm.
continuing your learning, and that there are whole schools of training, but there are great trainers and mentors, teachers out there with whom one can work. So that it's an evolution. I think a lot of people just think, well, either you have this thing
Right.
or you don't. And that's
Right.
just it. So, can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that, about what it is to train in this science and
Mm.
art of
Mm.
mediumship?
Yeah, I feel and I believe that everybody has the ability to connect.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's just understanding how to connect and be aware of the energy and presence of spirit and how they're communicating with you.
Right.
And that's where the training comes into place.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
allowing you to understand that process of communication through the senses of,
Mm.
clairvoyance, clairaudience, and understanding how you receive and perceive the information that is being given
Mm.
to you by spirit.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it, I see it also, with anything, if there's talent or interest, with anything, if it's music, singing, you still go through the process of some training to
Yeah.
Yeah.
understand and
Yeah.
grow that skill. So it's very
Yeah.
much similar to that with art as well. Or if you're interested in law, then you go to school for it as well. You
Right.
own that
Yeah.
skill. So it's very similar in that manner.
Yeah. I love hearing you say that because I know for myself and I still say, a developing medium, a beginning medium. And I would say like, well, why don't you just tell me the words you want me to say? Don't make me play this charade game, right? And it was learning how to communicate differently. And then I was also finding in the journey that loved ones on the other side also wanted to learn how to communicate differently.
Yes.
So if they were always going to a medium and sharing something in one kind of modality, they wanted to do something different. So maybe it is through art or it's through music or it's
Yeah.
through, symbols or it's through words or electricity or whatever it is, but they want to experience growth in their communication on that plane, just like we're doing here, which is
Absolutely.
fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know we're talking about mediumship, but I also follow Miguel, the artwork that you're doing. And I know there's spirit driven art and then not spirit. Well, I guess I'm not going to call it spirit art, but maybe you would. The other artwork that you're doing, these amazing floral pictures and full portraits that I don't think are done while you're practicing mediumship, but maybe you are always connected and it's always driven by spirit. So I would love for you to talk a little bit just about kind of that art process also.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And, to some degree, I feel that spirit is always involved, with whatever we're doing creatively.
Yeah,
Spirit, the influence is going to be there. And that was something that I became aware of when painting those roses or portraits,
yeah,
was that I could connect intentionally and invite spirit to guide and work with me. And so I do that with them, even if I
yeah,
have a reference that I'm working from. But what happens is that I move and they help me to move into this space of fluidity where the energy can just pass.
yeah,
And it's really magical and beautiful because as it's happening, I don't feel like I have to think about it much. It's just, oh, I see red. I'm going to add red. Oh, there's green.
yeah,
Okay, I need to add more green. I need to do this.
yeah,
But I feel their influence and I just allow it to happen. And I find that when I'm really in that space, it's like I also become the observer of what has taken place on the canvas when
right.
we're done, because I'm in this altered space of just I'm here, but I'm not here, and we're
Mm-hmm.
working together. And
Yeah.
so that has been very much a part of my practice now when I do paint,
Mm.
or even when I'm teaching students how to paint and draw. I just invite God and spirit because they're always happy and willing to help us.
Yeah,
And I find that sometimes when I'm like teaching someone, a process to painting and drawing, the words that start flowing in my mind actually connect to what they're experiencing in
Right,
their life. And I'm
right.
like, huh, well, let's think about art this way. This happens in life, but let's try it this
Yeah.
way.
Wow.
And
I
so,
understand so well what you're talking about, because I say these same things. I'm also a writer by profession, and the place that I where I engage in my writing in that flow is very similar to the place of my mediumship, which I do as well. It is a similar space where I connect and I receive and I open myself. And as I talk about that, I say, I don't experience, the writer's block that people talk about, because you just that openness and flow is a place where
Mm,
there's constant creativity, constant,
yeah,
that we can access. So it's interesting. I've not heard somebody else speak about that in quite the same way. And I say, yes, yes, I get that. I
yeah,
understand that.
yeah, yeah. I like the idea of what you said, if I understand it correctly, is you're doing this artwork and you are so I guess so connected and almost maybe it's almost out of body as you're doing this, that when you finish and you take a break, because I know your pictures can take some time, when you take a break and get to step back and look at the picture, it's like you're looking at it just like we are observing it for the first time, like, oh wow, look at this and look at the color or look at the shapes. And it's interesting because I've seen some of your artwork where I feel like that is when I'm connected and I'm seeing these colors that I imagine are not in this world, that are otherworldly. You see them in your portraits, in your paintings. And I'm thinking of one specific, I think it was roses, a floral painting where there were just these colors. I'm like, where do those colors exist? Like they must exist somewhere, but um, oh, very otherworldly, I think.
oh, thank you so much for
Yeah,
that, man. Thank you. Yeah, and I feel
yeah,
that's the influence of spirit coming in.
yeah.
And, as the mediums ourselves, we just have to allow it to come
Yeah.
through. And one of the things that I'm really working on is not judging it afterwards and
Mm,
just allowing it to be, and then coming
yeah.
back to it with an open heart, open mind, and just
Yeah.
continuing. Because our
Wow.
human mind wants to always be so analytical
Yes.
and
Yeah.
wants to
Yeah.
like nitpick, oh, well, I can do this, I can change that. But I'm like, nope, just let it be.
Let it go. Yeah. And I could imagine that from your training as an artist, that there's always this analytical piece of it that
Yes.
is part of schooling, right? And having to let go of that. That that's good for those of us that are developing our mediumship in other ways, to just kind of remember that there is this letting go and not judging. And yeah, because that's school is about the grades you get, right? It's about the finished product of the grades you get. So unlearning that. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So as you've been on this journey of unfoldment and development, evolution, all these wonderful things coming to pass through your acceptance of them, it's a beautiful place to be. What if you were able to go back and talk to your younger self, maybe like that preteen, 12-year-old, 13-year-old guy, Miguel? What
Yes.
would he say about the you today and where
Mm,
you are today? Yeah.
I feel that that young boy, Miguel, would be very proud of where we are now.
mm,
I do feel that.
mhm,
Um, because we have put in the work to change the things that have not worked within our life
mhm,
and have embraced God and continue to embrace God to help us to lead forward a life of love and to be of service to spirit.
mhm,
And that I feel just brings great joy to my heart and my life.
mm,
It's
yeah.
gorgeous. And also, I think everyone listening is noticing that you just brought young Miguel along with you, and
Mhm,
that he is very present with you
yeah.
now. And it's the we who
Yeah.
are here today.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I love that. So So, who inspires you in your life in this process? My first answer is, well, it's got to be God. It's got to be spirit. But I wonder if that's your answer, and if there's anybody on this kind of plane that inspires you.
I do have several people that inspire me, and those are my peers that are
Mm,
mediums, that are artists, friends, and family. And it is in the way that they are themselves as beautiful souls, as beings,
hmm.
that I really connect to
Yeah.
a lot. What you do necessarily isn't so much the impressive part, but it's the quality of the person that you are that I'm really drawn to.
Yeah.
And so that's what inspires me when I can see
Mm,
someone actually be kind in the way that they're
yes.
responding
Yes.
and communicating or going out of their way to check on someone. Just being in
Right.
that space is really humbling
Mm,
to be able to experience.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's always evolving. It's always changing and growing. And it can also be the little kids that I teach at the
Mm.
place that I'm at, the third or fifth graders.
Oh,
They also inspire me too, because they're so fearless. They're so
yes.
fearless and so committed to their
Yes.
ideas and what
Oh,
they want to do that it's
Yeah.
like, that's it. They're
yes.
committed. And that takes so much strength and
Hmm.
willpower to really honor yourself in such a way
Yeah.
that,
Mm,
yeah, there's always inspiration there too.
yes. Beautiful. I love that.
Like kids know that, and somehow we often unlearn that as we
Hmm.
become adults and, need
Yeah.
to learn it again. When
Yeah.
we talk about children being the teachers, for sure they are,
Yes.
if we'll allow it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
inspiring.
Yeah. If we could all live kind of that life of wonder, just that you have when you're the little, to look at the worm and totally love this worm instead of thinking, oh, I've got to get rid of the worm, right? Just
Right.
what, yeah, get down and dirty with him. So, yeah.
Cool. Cool,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so Miguel, do you have a kind of philosophy of life or a motto that guides you in your day to day?
Yes, I do. And that is, it's a hard one
Mm,
to
Okay.
still really fully experience, but just to surrender and trust God.
mm,
It is a hard one and but such a potent one, right? And just
hmm.
so powerful and transformative. And man,
Mm,
we struggle with resistance to that
hmm.
surrender. But
Surrender. Yeah. Mm,
yeah, we had a different somebody, actually one of our sisters, come on and talk about that topic and talk about surrender doesn't mean like, oh, just giving up, I just quit. It is turning it over
yeah.
and trusting and
Hmm.
letting yourself just go with that,
Yeah.
which is a very different thing. Can
Yeah,
you
for
talk a
sure.
little bit more about what surrender is and what it is to you?
Yeah, for me, it is trusting that things are going to work out in one way or another.
Hmm.
Yep.
But I have to surrender and let go of the control or the
Yeah.
way that I want it to be
Hmm.
and just go along with the experience and that something wonderful is going to happen.
Yeah.
Whether it's negative or positive, both will lead me to where I'm supposed to go. And
Hmm.
that's been the path that I've been on for some time here. And I also have really great support from my guide, Braveheart.
Mm.
When, life gets a little bit overwhelming, the anxiety comes up and it's like I'm thinking about the future or things to come. He calms me down and reminds me to focus in the present.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when I fully embrace that, it's quite powerful to experience because then the nervous system also follows that, and there's
Yeah.
calmness and there's
Hmm.
gratitude. And so it's been really beautiful to also experience that with my guide when he can come in and just share those little tidbits of where
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like, well, if it's
Mm.
not happening right now, then you don't have to think about it. Let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Do you
love
have
that.
any tools to practice that allow you to stay in the present?
Ooh, connecting to my breath, I would say.
Mm.
Connecting to my breath. And I go through this little self-talk of where I talk to myself, okay, Miguel, you are right here right now. This is happening at this very moment.
Yeah.
You are safe. You are all right. You don't have to worry about it. When you get there, you
Hmm.
can address it. It's gonna
Yeah.
be okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
like that. Can I ask, because you mentioned your guide, Braveheart, And I don't know if you're wanting to share with us a little bit of like, how did you come to know your guide? Did your guide find you? Did you find your guide? How did that come about?
Yes, thank you. I Braveheart has been with me my whole life. I just was not aware of it, but I can
Mm,
think back to experiences of when I was little, of how I would feel when I came near or around Native American like culture or music.
hmm
He's Native American, and I'll remember. I do remember this. There was an assembly that we had when I was in fifth grade, where dancers came in and they were Native American, and I could just feel something in my heart, so deep
mm,
within. And so those are the moments that I think back to Braveheart being there with me in
yeah.
those moments. But I came to really be aware of him in a gradual way.
hmm
The first connection that I made with him was when I sat for a trance
mm,
um, blending by myself, and through that I experienced this life of this soul and what he went through.
Mm.
And this was
mm.
very early on in my journey, and I'll be honest, I dismissed it because I was like, oh, it's my mind. And so time passes by, and I come across uh what is it? Sorry, I have too many Eileens or Elaines in my life. Elaine Thorpe, sorry, Elaine
Okay.
Thorpe. I came across Elaine, and I booked a session with her and her wonderful, beautiful guide Jonathan that
Mm,
communicates through her. Was very helpful during that time of my life. But in that session, Braveheart came through and spoke to me.
mm,
And it was the love that I felt in that moment as he was expressing those beautiful words
yeah.
of love and appreciation towards me that really brought this curiosity of like, who is this man? Like, who is this
Yeah.
Braveheart?
Yeah.
And so after that, I intentionally would sit in the silence, and I would invite him, like, please join me, be with me. And over time, that that bond and that energy built up to was more stronger and stronger. And then at one point, he started to bring forth information about himself to me, about his life. And one night I was just laying in bed and I can feel him come into my space, my awareness. And he says to me, look me up. I'm like, what do you mean, look you up?
Uh,
He's like, you're gonna find me, look me up. I'm like, okay, I'll Google you, sure. And so I went on Google and looked for Braveheart, and I did. I found Braveheart, and I found the information that he had shared with me was also written there as
Wow.
well. And so that's when I was like, okay, you're real.
Yep.
You're real.
Oh, wow. Wow. And that goes back to that trusting and surrendering, right? Like just going with it. And I could imagine you Googling, like, okay, yeah, what am I going to find? This is all in my mind, sort of thing. And then, oh, wait, I already know this. I already know this about him, which is just really cool to
It is
surrender
very
and
cool.
trust
Yeah.
and validate. Yeah.
Yeah,
Beautiful. Beautiful.
it's beautiful when we connect with our guides,
hmm
because they truly are there to support us and to help us.
Yes.
And they have great advice as well.
hmm
They
Yeah.
cannot make decisions or choices for us, but they are
hmm
there to support us.
Yeah.
And so having that beautiful love and support from Braveheart has been just amazing
Yeah.
and to have in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Gorgeous. Thank you for that reminder for us all. Yeah.
hmm
That's beautiful, Miguel. Thank you.
And,
So
and
you
just may I add something really quick
Yes.
to
please,
that?
please.
When it comes to our guides, for all of those that are listening, what's most important is being able to connect with that presence and love.
Yeah.
That's the important
Mhm.
connection there. Information is great because our human minds, can put pieces together for if it needs to feel real to us, but that's not the important part.
Right.
Mhm.
That connection, feeling them, knowing them based on their vibration and the love that they bring to you when
Yeah.
you connect with them.
Mm. Yeah.
Good wisdom that. Thank you. Thank you.
Mm.
So you are clearly living a very purposeful and intentional life. I mean, it's evident in everything that you're saying. You're very, very intentional about how you are in the world. Do you have any hopes around as you move through this world and beyond, like what you leave behind, how you are remembered,
Mm.
how others see this, have been impacted by this intentional life you've lived?
Ooh, such great questions.
Thanks.
I I don't think that I've actually put much thought into that, to be
Mm.
honest.
Hmm.
I've always been somebody that I'm like, if I'm in the background, great. I'm happy being there.
Hmm.
Um, but if I can, in some way, through that connection with spirit, can inspire something that can spark that love that spirit has for
Hmm.
us within somebody else that encourages them on their own path of connecting, I
Mm.
feel that that would make me really happy. That would
Mm.
make me really happy because
Mm.
it is when we experience it ourselves that it becomes real
Yeah.
and true. And so if people can experience it themselves, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
And I think you can rest assured, like you've
Yes.
already done that
Yes. Yeah.
abundantly. And,
Hmm.
as you can, it's just more and more those ripples in the pond go out, but you already have had that effect and impact,
Right.
you
Thank
know.
you.
Yeah,
Correct. Correct.
absolutely.
So I think this is getting us to our rapid fire questions.
Cool.
Again, they don't have to be so rapid, and it's more just whatever you think of, and don't put too much thought into it, I guess. But some people do, and I ask the question that's like, oh, maybe that's harder than I thought, and I guess if they were thrown at me, I might have to stop and think sometimes. But when like somebody's going up to win a big award, they're going up to the stage, a pitcher's coming up to the mound, and the music plays. There's this walk-in song. What would be your walk-in song?
Ooh, what would be my walk-in song? Oh, geez. I have the song. I have to remember the name.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Um, it's the song. It's What a Wonderful World.
Oh,
What
Mm.
is his name? Oh,
Louis Armstrong?
Luke. Yeah.
yes,
Or, yeah,
yes, that song. Every time I hear it, my heart just
Yes.
has this. Yeah, I think that would be that song.
because he
So,
sings that song from his soul
yes.
also, and you just
Oh,
feel it. Oh, that is
yeah,
good
it is
stuff.
powerful. No, no, and nobody else can sing it. I mean, you can listen to other people singing it, but it's not the same at all. He is just, I think, yeah, from a little girl, I love that song.
That's a good one. Oh, that's a good.
Yeah,
I could see that
yeah,
for you for your
yeah.
walk-in song for sure. When,
Hmm.
when we have an event and you're the guest speaker, that's what we're gonna.
Yeah, there you go.
What book changed you?
That book is a book on a shaman healer. Her name is Pachita.
Mm,
And she is from Mexico, and the healings that have taken place with her healing guide are incredible.
mm,
So that is one book that's really
okay.
opened my mind to much more possibility with spirit. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna
Well,
look that up.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's titled Los Chamanes de Mexico, which is the shamans of Mexico. And her name is Pachita, so that's the
Okay.
book.
Beautiful.
Wonderful. Thank you. What movie lives rent free in your brain?
What movie lives rent free?
Uh-huh.
Kiki's Delivery Service.
Ah, that's a cute one. I like that. I like that.
What did you love doing as a kid that you love doing to this day?
Oh, creating art. Even when I was a kid. Yes.
Yeah.
Getting my hands into creation. Yeah.
Yes.
I get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. What in your world is lighting you up right now?
Right now, I would say hope.
Mm, I like
Oh,
that.
that's
I
perfect.
like that.
So what color is hope?
Oh, pink, a soft pink.
Mm, pretty. And what does hope sound like?
It is calm and relaxing.
Mm,
Calm and relaxing.
yeah. Mm,
Beautiful. So complete the statement. Mediumship is.
A pathway to the soul.
mm, yes.
Hmm.
And here's another fill in the blank. Love is.
Love is everything.
It is.
Creativity is.
Ooh, creativity is creation.
Mm,
Mhm.
yeah.
The all.
Oh, okay. And the meaning of life is.
To explore.
Mm,
Mhm.
And hope is.
Hope is hope is a new adventure, a new
mm,
opportunity.
And they're
yeah.
always there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's always a new adventure and
Yeah.
opportunity right there.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. I
thank you.
loved hearing all of those.
You are a treasure, Miguel, and it's just lovely talking with you and spending time with you. Every time I do, just your presence, your energy fills me up. You
Mhm,
radiate so much light and love, warmth and acceptance.
mhm,
You are a gentle yet very powerful being,
mhm,
and I'm grateful to know you. Thank you for
mhm.
spending this time with us. And everyone should flock to you, honestly.
Yes. Well,
An
well,
incredibly gifted,
yes.
medium.
And speaking of flocking to
Yeah.
you, Miguel, can you share how people can find you? Social media, a website, where would they find you?
Yes, people can find me Facebook under Miguel Gonzalez, or if they wish to send me an email, Miguel Gonzalez Medium at gmail.com.
Perfect. And
Perfect.
we'll attach all of those as we share out this podcast. All of that'll be for everyone to be able to find you.
Yeah.
And gosh, just thank you so much. Thank you for this. And also just personally, you've also been a gift to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Donna, and thank you,
Beautiful.
Donna. Thank you for this
Yes.
wonderful time. Thank you.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you for spending time with us and for being flexible today. And
Yes.
we will talk again soon, I'm sure.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Wonderful.
so much,
Mwah.
Miguel.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today on Soul Sisteries.
And thanks for sharing stories with us. We'd love to hear your stories as well and keep the conversation going, absolutely keeping the hope going. So we're really hopeful that you'll connect with our guests as well who have great stories to share. Go ahead and follow them in various social media platforms or live venues, wherever it is that they're performing and sharing what they do.
We would love to have you follow us on all of our social media platforms, subscribe and rate, as that will help us get our message of hope out to others.
Thanks for listening to Soul Sisteries.